Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Am I the a-hole? I'm pressing charges against my boyfriend's mum after she stole my credit card info. Post by Imaginary Setting, 1856. I'm a 22-year-old woman, and I'm dating Greg, who's 24. His mum is 70. We'll call her Lisa. Last month we attended a funeral for a family member of Greg and Lisa. After the service, everyone was mingling in the fellowship hall and eating, and Lisa stepped out for a smoke break. I happened to see her through one of the open church windows. She got into the back of the car while lighting her cigarette, and then she started rummaging through my bag. I didn't think anything of it. I'd brought the bag so I could carry any extra items anyone needed, lighters for instance. So I thought that's what she was fishing for. I went back to socializing and supporting Greg. Anyway, I stopped by the gas station 2 days later for some gas and realised that I was missing my card from my wallet. I used Apple Pay so I could get my gas, went home and started searching. I also called Greg, who was at his parents' house, and asked if he could search there and see if I'd misplaced it somehow. Well, I didn't find my card, neither did Greg, and I decided to give it one more day before cancelling it because I was hoping it would just pop up. After all, I hadn't noticed any unusual transactions come through. The next day, Greg texted me saying he'd found my card on top of the washer. He said he doesn't know how he missed it, but it was there waiting when he went to do some laundry. The next day was payday. I checked my account and noticed a withdrawal for an Amazon order. I haven't ordered anything from Amazon in weeks, and checking my account, I confirmed that. I asked Greg if he'd used my card to make a purchase, and he said no, of course not. He would never do that without asking first. So I cancelled the card and reported the potential fraud. It was only then when Lisa admitted to using my card for the purchase because she couldn't find hers. She said she'd pay me back soon and that she really needed it. I don't know what she bought, but I don't care, considering she stole my card. She also apparently has a history with gambling and stealing. She's taken money from Greg before, and a major factor in a divorce with Greg's father was that she stole most of his savings during their separation. He has never recovered the money, and it was almost $500,000. I decided to involve the cops, and now Lisa is furious, saying I'm being a brat and throwing around a lot of other insults. She says I should have just waited for her to pay me back, even though she also has a reputation of not repaying people. If she really needed it, she could have asked, but no, she stole the money hoping you would notice. Bet she never would have told you or paid you back if you hadn't said you were going to report it. And since she has a history of this, I think if you just let it slide, she'd see you as an easy target to leech from again. Am I the a-hole for hiding embarrassing notes in my house as a joke because I know my fiance's mum snoops? Post by Jemmy44. I bought a house 7 years ago and met my fiance Al 4 years ago. This year, he moved in. We've been talking about making a home for both of us, but as of now, he hasn't moved much stuff in. Right now, 95% of the stuff and furniture in the house is mine. When his mum comes over, she's kind of a snoop. He's used to that, but when she comes to our house, it's so uncomfortable because she's just going through my stuff. If I get upset, she's like, I was just helping with chores. He says I should just let her because she has a lot of nervous energy. One thing she snooped on was actually really embarrassing for me. In my home office, I had a little affirmation post-it note on my monitor saying, I am smart, I am skilled, I am deserving of great things. It was a silly thing my therapist recommended to get me in a confident mindset before an interview. Anyway, she made a comment about my ego. But as a joke, I decided to do it again. I had my best friend over and we got drunk. We wrote a bunch of BS affirmations to hide, including, inside the medicine cabinet, my teeth will regrow, I am shark-like and powerful. In the kitchen drawers, I know when to spoon, but I also know when to fork. I am sexy and self-assured. In my work desk, I will not just screw my way to the top of the company, I will screw my way to the top of the world. Inside my walk-in closet, I am beautiful with clothes and without. Especially without. My boobs are legendary. There was a bunch more, and my friend and I had a hilarious time writing them. Next time my mother-in-law came over, she saw a few. She didn't acknowledge them to me, even though she definitely started acting a little weird around me. I went to run some errands, and when I was out, She confronted Al about the notes and was trying to tell him that I seemed unstable, egotistical, and moving in was a bad idea. She showed him the notes and he didn't really know what to make of it. He asked me about it and I said they were just some silly private notes to boost my self-confidence and make myself laugh. How had she gotten them? Had she been going through my things? He said she was just tidying and saw them, and they were real weird. You know what's weird? Going through someone's private drawer. Play creepy games, win creepy prizes. I was like, have you met me? You should know how weird I am. Anyway, if you don't want your mum seeing my weird stuff, you've got to stop letting her go through my things. He asked if I left them there on purpose to annoy her, and I admitted that was kind of the joke. But I also have other weird or private things, so what I said about her needing to stop snooping if she didn't want to find weird stuff was still for real. He said I was making things hard for him. His mum was really protective and adjusting to him moving in with a girlfriend for the first time, and I was agitating her on purpose and making her think that I wouldn't be a good partner when he wanted her to have the opposite impression of me. So, am I the a-hole for the note prank? Ages weren't mentioned, but I don't think your boyfriend's mature enough to live with a girlfriend yet. He needs to cut the umbilical cord first. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my mother-in-law to come over to my house unannounced and for no longer accepting anything she buys us? Post by Wide Raspberry 1280. I've been with my husband for 3.5 years, married for just over 1 year. This past November, we had our first child. My husband is an only child and his father was never in the picture. Him and his mum have never really been close. Now for a little backstory. We're both at odds with my mother-in-law, and it all started less than 24 hours after I had my son. My husband and I told both my mother-in-law and my mother that we didn't want our son's birth turned into a photo op. People taking pictures of me have always made me uncomfortable. My son had some complications immediately after he was born, and he was rushed to the NICU. I wasn't able to see him for roughly 9 hours. Once I was finally allowed to go into the NICU, my husband went with me, as this was the first time I was officially meeting my newborn son. Next thing I know, I look up and see my mother-in-law using this as a photo op. I was fuming! These were not the first pictures I wanted of my son, or my husband and I with our son. The next morning, my mother-in-law decided she wanted to come back and see our son, who is now safe and in our room. I was running on maybe 2 hours of sleep, but I still said it was okay for her to come. Once she was there, I didn't really interact with her. I was just trying to get some rest. After she left, she ended up calling my husband. This is when he decided to call her out on the photo op, and how she completely violated a boundary that we clearly set. Her response floored me. She began yelling at my husband, saying that I hate her, that I don't like her and I never have, and I'm always so hateful towards her. She said her reasoning for taking the pictures was because she thought we'd want to remember that moment. And to her, it wasn't a big deal, and she didn't see the point in getting upset. Once all of this happened, I decided I needed to distance myself from her and focus on my new family. My husband agreed with doing this as well. Fast forward to about a week and a half ago. My husband and son had been sick for over a week, and I was out doing errands and getting groceries. My mother-in-law asked me multiple times if I wanted anything from the shops. I consistently told her no, but thank you. She was doing the same to my husband, and he would also respond, "No, we're good thanks." I returned home, and my son was screaming. He hadn't slept all day. We decided to try and get some sleep. My husband finally fell asleep, and I finally got my son to fall asleep. About 10 minutes later, there was a knock at my door. My dog went flying, barking her head off and waking my son up. I answered the door. It was my mother-in-law. I just said, "Why are you here?" She responded, "I went to bring you a rotisserie chicken, a trash can, and laundry detergent." I reminded her that we'd already said we didn't want anything, and to not show up at our house unannounced, and that next time she tries to give us some random stuff from the shops, I'll immediately return it to her. We don't want anything from her. She got angry and said she'll never come over or speak to us ever again, and slammed the door. Am I the a-hole? I kinda love how random the stuff she got you was. A trash can? Oh my god, that's so funny. Down in the comments, and So It Goes 24 says, "Not the a-hole. This is wrong of me, but the quickest cure for the always popping by unannounced guest is to stop answering the door like a knee-jerk response to the bell. I never answer the door when I'm not expecting anyone, and I almost never casually grab the phone when it rings either, unless I'm at work. I'll tell anyone later, sorry I missed you, what did you need? Retrain her just as you would a dog. If she barks, put her on ignore. If she whines, ignore her. If she cries, one long stare before you leave the room. She can perform for the empty seats. Emotional vampires need to get over themselves. I'd have laughed myself at the whole "I'll never speak to you again" thing, because yeah, thanks a lot. It's all I ever wanted from you anyway. Peace and quiet works. Blotto80 says, yep, my wife's parents come over all the time without calling, and I ignore the bell. The dogs will be going off, my car will be in the driveway, and the TV very clearly on and visible from the front steps. Anytime I get the "we came over for X," my standard reply is, I wasn't expecting anyone, so I didn't bother answering. Like, this isn't 1972 anymore. Coming over unannounced is rude AF. If you like this video, please let me know, and subscribe for more juicy tea.